Manafort's defense forces recess after unleashing Team Mueller's worst fear to the jury by US4Trump.com. Robert Mueller's witch hunt team is falling apart at the seams. Manafort's defense team is tearing them to shreds. In an incredible move today during closing arguments, Judge Ellis called recess of the case. I guess he's had enough. Catherine Herridge, chief intelligence correspondent, reports that each team had 2 hours to give closing arguments. Additionally, Judge Ellis scheduled 90 minutes for his instruction to the jury. And instead, a fiery meltdown happened when the prosecution insisted the defense team broke the original pre-trial agreement. During the closing arguments today, Manafort's team argued that special counsel Robert Mueller's team had unfairly ensnared their client in the ongoing Russia probe. That's exactly what took place. Specifically, Manafort's attorney, Richard Westling, told jurors the banks had not reported any problems with Manafort to regulations until the special counsel came and asked questions and accused prosecutors of stacking charges against Manafort, reports Fox News. Furthermore, another defense attorney, Kevin Downing, said several times the prosecution should have been handled by the IRS audit rather than a high-profile federal prosecution by the special counsel's office. Prosecutors argued that both of those arguments violated a pretrial agreement not to disclose the larger political contents of the case, context of the case, per Fox News. Oh, why, Mueller? Oh, because it would destroy your case? Oh, I get it now. Watch Catherine Herridge reports on the closing arguments of the Virginia Manafort case.
Federal Judge T.S. Ellis III has given the prosecution and the defense each 2 hours or less to make their closing arguments this morning. The judge has also set aside 90 minutes for his instructions to the jury. The key thing to watch is how the judge tells the jury to deal with his own comments from the bench about evidence and witnesses, specifically the government star witness and Manafort's former business partner, Rick Gates. Gates testified that Manafort was somebody who knew all about the finances, he knew where the money was going, and he would have understood that they were committing a fraud and trying to avoid federal taxes. Let's go to the graphic. Mr. Manafort, in my opinion, kept fairly frequent updates, Gates testified. Mr. Manafort was very good at knowing where the money was and where it was going. Then Judge Ellis interjected. He didn't know about the money you were stealing, so he didn't do it that closely. Prosecutors have argued that those comments from the bench really had the effect of undercutting the government's star witness. As you know, Bill, the defense chose not to call their own witnesses, not to present their own evidence, and the lead attorney, Kevin Downey, spoke briefly to reporters yesterday about that strategy.
The government has failed to meet their burden of proof, and we've rested on that.
And what do you say to those who would say this makes your client look guilty?
Well, we live in the United States of America, and you're presumed innocent until proven guilty. And we believe the government cannot meet that burden.
I like that attorney.
We are very confident.
This is an incredibly complex case because it deals with bank and tax fraud. There are tens of thousands of documents, Bill. There are dozens of witnesses. But it really comes down to three basic principles. Number one, what did Manafort know? Number two, when there were efforts to avoid taxes and to commit bank fraud, was this done willfully by Manafort? And has the government, has the prosecution presented direct evidence that Manafort knew, or are they asking the jurors in this case to infer that knowledge, Bill?
Well, listen, as they said, the IRS should have handled this, right? Instead of Mueller. But they said that they didn't report any problems with Manafort to regulations. Meanwhile, Mueller gives, what's his name, Tony Podesta immunity, and a couple others, Rick Gates, the other criminal in charge. He gives them immunity but goes after Manafort. Why? Because Manafort was for Trump. That's why they're going to lose this case, and they're going to lose real bad. They're going to lose real bad, and Mueller is going to be exposed for the criminal that he is. Because Gates and Tony Podesta, if there was wrongdoing, which I don't doubt, they were guilty of the same crap. So Manafort was only going after, Mueller was going only after Manafort. So you see what's going on here. So you think the jury doesn't see this, but I hope they don't have a bunch of liberal nut jobs on the jury. But it seems that Judge Ellis doesn't like this at all. At all, he doesn't like it. And I like this attorney. I don't know his name there. I forgot. But I like the way he said, "This is the United States of America. You're innocent until proven guilty." But the way Mueller was going, you're guilty until proven innocent. Manafort, Richard Wessling. Well, I like the way he spoke, and he looked like he meant business. I really think, because for his career to break down Mueller, it'd be a big boost for his career, definitely. But he said it exactly the way it is, and even Judge Ellis knows this. You're gonna bring me Gates in? That's why he didn't want to be bothered with this. And now Mueller is saying, because you mentioned this, it's against the, what did they say before the trial? You mentioned this before, and it was a pre-trial agreement. You didn't go according to the pre-trial agreement, not to mention about the IRS and what they're going after for political reasons. I mean, really? Come on, Mueller. What do you think? Somebody's going to face a 305-year sentence? And meanwhile, they let criminals loose? They let the real criminals loose? They give them bail for 20 grand? Come on now. This is supposed to be the United States of America, but it seems it's being shattered, chipped away, and not slowly but surely, very quickly. I'll tell you, we really lucked out since Trump got in. But look at what he's going through. I mean, it is unbelievable, unbelievable. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.